All right, we're going to go through and actually set up the ads. So at this point, you have set up your business page, your Facebook page, your business manager account, your ad account. You've added a payment method to Facebook, so that way you're able to start running ads. And I want to walk you through actually how we can set up ads. This is going to work really well for anyone who is a small business owner, whether you're running an in-person event, an online event. I want to walk you through the simplest way. There are more complex ways that you can do this, but this is what I always start people on, recommend people to start on, because it's going to require the least amount of setup, the least amount of investment. We're going to use one tool called, two tools, but one that costs money called Zapier. That's going to require something I think like 20 bucks a month or 25 a month. So it will be the only cost involved in this. It's not required or totally necessary, but you'll see how it's going to be much more powerful to use and helpful as we go through this. And why this is beneficial is if we don't do this, if we don't use the tool, we would need something like a landing page software, or unless you run your own website and manage your own website, we're looking at another tool that would be like 50, 90, 100 bucks a month or more. So that's why we're going to do that. So let's go through this. We're going to go to the very first thing is you're walking through this, we're going to go to business.facebook.com. So you can go to business.facebook.com. And you're going to choose your ad account. So in this case, I'm just going to choose one of mine that I run. And it should take you to something that looks like this. And this ad account that I was using is disabled. So let me just go find one of the ones that I'm using. Let's see. Okay, your area should look something like this. You might not have campaigns like I do in here, but this is the back end of the ads manager. So this is what we call Facebook ads manager. And we're going to go through and we're going to set this up. And so I want to make this as simple as possible for you to set up your campaigns. You have 3 tabs here. One's called campaigns, one's called ad sets, one is called ads. Campaigns are where we set our budget and what the objective of our campaign is going to be. That will make more sense in a minute. Ad set involves a couple of things. One, who we're going to target. So who do we want to target? Where we're going to be targeting. So geography, which is really important for small business owners. And it used to be where we would set the price, but now that's changed primarily to campaign level. Then the ads tab is the creative part that we think about, which is the image or video that we're going to use, and the form, like where we're going to set up the opt-in form for someone to sign up for, whether that's an offer, a workshop that we're hosting, something that we're selling. And I'm going to walk you through the process of how this works. So let's go through. The first thing you want to do is hit this big green create button. And for most people, we're going to be trying to generate leads. So we're going to choose a campaign objective called lead generation. We're going to use a Facebook native tool to do this. And I'm going to walk through how we do that. So what I do is I name the campaign. So if this is for a workshop, I would call this, month November 2020 something workshop. If this is for an offer, I might call November 2020 name of the offer. So let's just say this is for a workshop. I'm going to call it November 2020 back pain workshop. We're doing this for a chiropractic clinic, back pain workshop. I don't need to name the ad set. I don't even need to name the campaign. I just like it so I can see over here for organization. I'm going to click continue. Cool. So it's going to pull this up over here, and we're not going to touch a lot of this stuff. So we're not going to do anything with special ad categories. We don't need to touch. We're not going to do anything with auction here. We're not going to do with anything A/B test. The one thing that we are going to do is change this to campaign budget optimization. We're going to turn on. If yours doesn't say this, don't worry about it. But if it does, I highly recommend it. What I've learned here is this is where we're going to set our budget. You can either choose a daily budget or a lifetime budget. So let's say you want to spend $100 or up to $100, or maybe let's just say I'm willing to spend $200 on this campaign. I could choose a lifetime. There's not a huge benefit to doing daily or lifetime. We just find daily maybe works a little bit better because it consistently is using as much data as it can. Whereas if we say, hey, $200 over a certain period of time, Facebook kind of may not use as much of the budget or data as we would like. That being said, I think for most people, they prefer lifetime budget. So I'll teach you that way. But you can also do daily budget as well. We're not going to do anything with low cost or any options. So we're good. We're going to click next. We're in the ad set. So this is where we're going to choose our page that we're going to run our ad under. So for you, you're going to select your page. If your page doesn't show up, you need to click this plus button and you're going to find your page in here. Now we're using something called lead ads forms, meaning Facebook is going to create a form for us. So we don't need to rely on an external website or a landing page software. And what we have to do is view the terms in order to run this. So you're going to say view terms, takes you to this page. It says lead ads terms have been accepted for this page. If yours haven't, you just have to look down and click accept. So maybe I can find a page where I haven't done that yet so you can see what that looks like. So yeah, terms of service not accepted. You can't run these ads until you've accepted the terms of service. So I'm going to come down, click view terms, get all this stuff, and I'm going to put I agree. And now you'll see that that red part goes away. We're not going to do anything with dynamic creative. We're not going to touch anything with catalog. And all we're going to do is choose a start date and an end date. So I'm going to keep my start date for like now. Usually start date is immediately. If you wanted to start on the 5th, right, you could click, choose the 5th and set a time. Let's say I want this $200 to be spent over the course of, let's say 2 weeks. So maybe I know my event or my offer, I want to stop the offer in 2 weeks. So I'm just going to run it up to November 17th. Okay, so now we're going to start targeting the people that we want to for our event, or in this case, the workshop, but it could be for your offer. It could be for whatever. If you're a small business owner, we're going to cover some pretty important details here of how this works. So one thing to notice on the right side here, you see audience definition. And right now, my audience is set to people living in or recently in all of the US between the ages 18 and up, all both men and women, and no interest targeted. And you'll see that there are 220 million people in the US living or recently in the US that are 18 and older on Facebook, which is like massive. It's a huge amount of people. But what we want to do is we're not going to do anything with custom audiences. Custom audiences would be like you could retarget people. If you had an email list, you could upload it. If you're a healthcare business, I highly recommend not uploading an email list, though. That tends to go against HIPAA's terms of services, so we don't mess with that. That being said, if you're a customer who's not in a health-related business, feel free to upload a customer list here. That would be for a separate day or different training. But in this case, we just want to get to what we need to be doing. So what we're going to do is we want to go with people living in or recently in this location, or you can do just living in this location. So if you're in an area where a lot of people commute, you may want to do this one. If you're in a place where people don't commute that often, I would just go with people who actually live in this location, especially if you're hosting an event in person, like in the evening, you probably want people who actually live there or live nearby. So I don't want the whole US. So for this example, we're going to choose, I'm going to say I live in, I'm just going to go with a small town. So I'm going to say Carnegie, Pennsylvania. And so you'll notice that this changed on the right. So now it says 1.2 million people. And that's because right now this ad would only be shown to people within 25 miles of Carnegie, Pennsylvania that are 18 and older, both men and women. So let's say like, oh, that's really far. I don't want it to be that far. I just want it to go within 10 miles. So I could change this and drag this right to within up to 10 miles. And you'll notice now we have 780,000 people in our potential audience of who we could reach out to. And I might think, well, this Carnegie part of Pennsylvania is big, but like people from the city of Pittsburgh aren't going to drive there. So let me do this. That seems really big. So what you can do is zoom in. You could also just type in your address if you want to. But one thing I just do for sake of ease is you can actually come in here and just drop a pin. So I'll just drop it right on the town name Carnegie. Oops. And when I do that, you'll see these like coordinate dots pop up, but then I can go as small as 1 mile radius. So you'll notice like my reach went to 4,300 people, pretty small, like pretty small area or pretty small group of people to market to. So I know if I made my ad, it would only go to these 4,300 people that are men and women over 18 within a mile. So that's pretty small. I'm just going to assume that people up to maybe like 5 miles will come. Seems all right. You could also exclude areas if you want to. I just really recommend that you use radius to begin with. And really what we're looking for, unless if you have a really small town, you just want this to be as broad as possible. So we want this to be at least like, we're aiming for at least 100,000 people. If you're in a town that's smaller than that, then that's okay. We're just going to market to every single person in your town. And this is just however big it can be. So make it within reason of how far someone would drive or call to come in and see you. So I know that people 20 miles from here aren't going to come, but within 5 miles, it's totally possible. And so what I'm going to do is, let's say this is a back pain workshop, both for men and women. But I know that like most 20-year-olds don't have back pain. So I'm going to say I only want this to be shown to people 30. And let's say I, for whatever reason, only work with people 30 to 60. Great. Well, now I'm between ages 30 and 60, and I'm within 100 to 250,000 people. That's a really good target audience size that I don't need to add interest. But let's say that this was, that people did come from within, let's say 10 miles. And I've got both men and women, 30 to 60, 420,000. That's a lot of people that, and not all of them are going to be an ideal target audience. So what I might do is I might target just women. Women tend to be more active in terms of taking up offers on social media. Or what I can do is add in an interest. So I could add in something like let's say runners, people who run. And so Facebook has data that will that they've collected over time of what people have interests in. So I might say something like, let's see, 10K run. So people who like to do a 10K run. Okay, now I'm down to 17,000, too small. We're looking for an audience size between 100 and 250,000 people if we can. It's just what I've seen work the best for small towns. If you're in a real small town, then it's just, we're not gonna do any targeting and you keep it as broad as possible. And say half marathon, say marathons. So I'm looking at suggestions that Facebook recommends for people like runners. So maybe I'll do jogging, running clubs. I'm just trying to get this up to close to 100,000. So that running, okay, 140,000, right? So let's just say this was if I want to make my workshop about back pain, for example. Most of us though, we're just going to keep this as small as possible, or we're not going to have interests on. So I'm just going to get rid of all these interests. And I'm going to keep this down to, I think I had 5 miles. Cool. So right now we're going to target everyone within 5 miles of Carnegie, Pennsylvania, which is ages 30 to 60, both men and women, and that's 210,000 people. So that's between our 100 and 250,000 person sweet spot. I'm not going to click anything here. I'm not going to change anything about languages. What I'm going to do is click manual placement. So placements means where will your ad show up on all the different places on Facebook? So you'll see it can happen in Facebook newsfeed. Facebook owns Instagram, so you can market on Instagram, the marketplace, video ads, all these places. And what I've found time and time again are that just the Facebook newsfeed and Instagram feed are what work the best. And so I deselect everything else. Okay, so I just have Facebook newsfeed and Instagram feed as the only places where my ad is going to show up. So we've checked that. I'm not going to go down here and change any of this for optimization, delivery, and ad. So the good thing is we now know my ad, I've set up my page, I've connected my page, I've got my terms and services accepted. I know, let's see, let's just set this for 2 p.m. in the future. And we're going to start later today, 2 p.m. We're going to end it in 2 weeks from now. I know that I'm targeting people within 5 miles of Carnegie, Pennsylvania, and only people who live in that area. And I'm targeting people just 30 to 60 years old, and both men and women with no specific interest, because my range is within 100 to 250,000 people. Now, again, if yours is really small and under 100,000, that's okay. You just want to keep it as broad as possible. And I would go to like 18 to 65 and plus. So as many people as I could get in, want my ad to go in front of. So I'm going to click next, and we're actually going to create the ad. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make sure my Facebook page is set up here. So it should be selected. It's going to say select an Instagram account. So I don't have an Instagram account for this. If you do have one, you can click here and connect it, and it'll take you to Instagram to log in. Or if not, what it will do is just create a dummy page. So I'm not going to click anything, and it'll just say use, your ad will use the page name, profile picture. It will not click through to the actual page on Facebook. Yep. So perfect. We're just going to leave it like that if you don't have an Instagram account, or you don't want to connect your Instagram account, which is totally fine. It'll still advertise on Instagram. It will just be a dummy account. Okay, so now we're going to either choose an image or a video. So I like to clear the images here. And here's what I found when it comes to creating ads. There are really 2 big things that can matter. Video can be great, but honestly, what I found for offers or workshops are if we just use images. And what tends to work the best are images of you and your clinic. So here's an example of a therapist that I've worked with in the past, who could also be a chiropractor, and it's them holding this up and showing their face. And that tends to work incredibly well. Whether that's so if you're a small business owner, showing you and your staff tends to work best. I don't have images on here, but I would use something like, even like this, where you can see my face would be good. So I was working with a dog canine therapist, and we were using this picture as a picture, or actually, yeah, looked into a picture like this, where this would be a good example. You can see their face, you can see what they're doing, and it looks like it's in a real clinic. So just looking real is great. The other option, so we might use this picture, or I'll just do this can work for everyone, is if you're doing something like a workshop that's specific to, or a workshop or an offer that's specific to a group of people. So let's say, this workshop is about back pain. I can type in back pain. I'm looking for an image that conveys back pain. And I'll just give you a heads up. Sometimes pictures that have these bright red markers, like if you see highlighting specific areas, can get flagged by Facebook as saying like, hey, you're sort of highlighting someone's pain. I'll just notice I've been able to get away with it a lot more often than I had in the past. But I'm looking for someone who looks between 30 and 60, because that's who I'm targeting to. And that really indicates back pain. So I'm just going to kind of scroll. And I'm going to see if I can get away with this one, because I can see it looks 30 to 60 and highlighting their back. Cool. So I just want to catch someone's attention and be like, oh, back pain. But yours might be a picture, like let's say you're working with animals. It could be a picture of animals. If you're working with car wash stuff, it could be a picture of like, sparkling car, anything like that. But Facebook has this whole library of stock images that you can use, which is really cool. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through and we're going to write our ad, and this is really important. And we're going to use a simple framework, which goes like this. So primary text, by the way, is I'll just give you a sample here so you can see, is what will pop up and people see. So this is what it looks like on Facebook over here on the right. This is what it looks like on Instagram on the right. And we're going to use a framework that has been tried and tested over and over and over again and seems to work very well, which is hey, city name. So hey, friends. So in this case, what I'm going to do is hey, friends. And we're going to do, which is sick and tired of and you're going to insert what you're talking about. Now, the key thing here with Facebook is what we don't want to say is you can use the words you can use the words your, but what Facebook does not like is when you make associations about people, like you assume things about somebody else. So we want to talk in a generic form or a third person form. And that's what usually helps us stay on the safe side of Facebook. So rather than saying sick and tired of your back pain, that would be a no-no. We're saying, hey, I already know something about you, right? It even says ads may not contain content that asserts or implies personal attributes. So here's the way of doing this. Sick and tired of back pain. Let's see. Leading to stiffness or achy muscles. We're doing something special here at insert business name. So in this case, I'm just going to make up a business name, Charleston back specialist, and putting on an online workshop titled 3 Ways to Reduce Back Pain Fast on November 18th, 2020 at 8 p.m. Eastern. In this workshop, you will learn how to quickly resolve acute flare-ups, how to move freely again without worrying about, and I'm actually going to avoid the word worrying, although worrying is typically fine. I'm just going to avoid it. So how to move freely again without discomfort. What exercises are best to ensure it never comes back again? So right here, I'm just telling people, here's what you'll learn. If you have an offer, so this is where I would say in the offer. So let's say you're, instead of a workshop, your offer was a discounted visit or a free phone call. You would say something like, we're doing some special here at Charleston Back Pain Specialist, and we're offering 10 free phone consultations to the next 20 people who take on our offer. So that's what you'd be here in this. Then you would change this to, in this free phone consult, you will, get to the root of the discomfort. Again, not your discomfort, the discomfort. Come up with an action plan for conquering whatever's going on, and one other thing, right? Just notice in here, the only time I use you or your is when I say like, you'll learn, but it's nothing about a possessive thing like your back pain, your struggles, your pet's issue. I'm talking in a third person. So sick and tired of back pain leading to stiffness or achy muscles. Putting on blah, 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 3 ways to reduce back pain fast, not 3 ways to reduce your back pain fast. When you do that, that's the biggest risk of getting your ads flagged. So then we're going to go in order so I'm going to create a little bit of urgency or scarcity. Scarcity meaning there's only so many seats we can fill. We can only accommodate up to 20 people for this online event. To reserve a seat, click the button below and enter your name, email, and phone number. So I'm just telling them what to do next, which is I need you to click on this button to sign up. Okay, so now I have my ad, and this is, by the way, is pretty tried and true. So how this goes is, hey, call out your target audience. Are you, whoa, oops. Are you, oh my gosh, what's going on? Are you sick and tired of blank thing that's causing them issues? And then, hey, here's our offer. We're doing something special. And this is what you'll get or learn. We can only accommodate up to blank amount of people, and to reserve a seat or to, claim your call or whatever it is that we're offering, click the button below and enter your name, email, and phone number. So we have the ad. Now we need just a little headline. So the headline is going to be where this bold area is. So we're going to say something like back pain workshop for Carnegie, PA. We don't need to put anything in the description. So I'm just going to leave that there. We don't need a link. We're not sending them to a website because you're going to see the form here is within Facebook. And I'm going to keep my call to action as sign up, or I recommend sign up or learn more, whichever one you want to use. Either way, it won't matter too much. So now the next thing we're going to do is we need to create a form because we need to send them somewhere. And so we're going to send them within Facebook. And so we're going to create a new form. And this is like a little landing page that Facebook has. So we're going to change this to just something I can remember. So November online back pain workshop. And instead of more volume, we're going to change this to higher intent. So we're going to create, I like to keep the same image from the ad for congruency. So I just keep this here like this. And then we need to create a greeting. So headline. So reserve seat for online back pain workshop, November 18th. Cool. And then I'm just going to make the same description pretty much that I had on the ad. Again, with Facebook, we don't want to add anything like you can also get flagged for writing things in here. So we want to be careful. Your landing page or wherever you're sending to, we need our language to be congruent and not being like your pain, possessive, or anything like that. So what we're going to say is free online back pain workshop for Carnegie area residents. Day 18th, time Eastern. Learn the 3 ways to reduce pain right away. Hosted by Dr. Boyd of Charleston Specialists. Cool. So that's all I need to write. You can see here, this is what it looks like. So someone will see this. And so I'm going to say, whoops. Then I'm going to go to, so that's our intro. And then we're going to go to questions. So the questions, all I want them to do is put in their name, email, and phone number. So we have to put something here for description. And so this is just going to say, how will we, it says, let people know how the information they give you will be shared, used or shared. So we're going to say this, we'll say, I usually put business name. So back Charleston Specialists will only use this information to contact you correctly will not be. So essentially just saying that, hey, we're going to be only using this information to contact you. We're not like collecting data to sell to other people or anything like that. So we're going to do name, email, and I really, really, really strongly recommend that we get phone numbers. Phone numbers are huge in terms of being able to follow up with people. So this is how we're going to collect name, email, and phone number, and they'll have to type it in, which is great. And then we're almost done with this first part. Then we have to go to privacy. And if you do not have a privacy policy, I highly recommend that you create one for your website because privacy policies are super important. However, if you don't know how to do one, you just need to go to Lead Ads Privacy Policy Generator. And if you go to this website, connectio.io, and I'll have this in the lesson here below, you can actually just create a privacy policy on the spot. So you go to Privacy Policy Generator, that's compliant with Facebook. So I would put in Charleston Back Specialists and put United States. And it will automatically generate a templated terms and conditions. And what you do is copy and paste this onto your website, and you will have a privacy policy. If you don't have a website or you're not sure what to do, what I recommend is you create a Google Drive account. And what you do is you just create a new Google Doc. Click create and share. And you're going to paste this here. So at least it's all in one place. And we're going to call this doc. Again, I would highly recommend you actually get a really like legitimate, this is legitimate, but like a really privacy policy for your own business or website. It's just really important. But so this would be good enough. So what I'm going to do is share, and I'm going to grab the link. So as anyone on the internet can edit this. I don't want them to be able to edit it. I just want them to be able to view it. Click done. And then what I do is I go and I grab this link. So I'm going to copy the link, and then I can go back to Facebook here, and I can add in this link. Oops. And then I'm just going to put in privacy policy for our text. Now you'll notice over here, there's like a privacy policy link, and that goes to this. So if anyone were to click on this, which pretty much never happens, they would be taken to our Google Doc page. We don't need to add a custom disclaimer. Then we're going to add a review screen. So like, hey, is your information correct? It'll say slide to submit. On completion, we're going to have our little thank you page here. So thanks. Thank you for reserving your seat. Workshop. We will send you email reminders and text reminders for the upcoming workshop. If it makes more sense to have a one-on-one consult sooner than the workshop, please click the button below to call us now, and we can get you scheduled. So you could send them to your website. What I recommend is just having a button here where they can call your business and say, call Charles. Or this could be like speak with back pain specialist now, and then I would type in your phone number. So I'll just type in something similar to my phone number, and then you're good. And so we have this all set up. And so someone were to go through the ad, they click on our ad, this would pop up and say, hey, free online back pain workshop. They would click it, say, hey, enter your contact information. Great. Review your info. Got it. And message for leads. So people that sign in and they could call your office here. So we're going to click publish. Oops. Oh, you get that. Okay. Didn't have enough numbers. Cool. So your form has been added. So this is how you would run an ad. And so you're actually, at this point, we're good. And what I would do is just publish an ad. So Facebook can take anywhere from like an hour to 24 hours to approve an ad. So just keep that in mind. And just walking through this, if this were to get rejected, which I don't think it will, there'd be really two reasons it might get rejected. One would be that they're seeing that this is highlighting someone's back pain and they may think, hey, that may be a negative experience. So if this were to get flagged, I would change this picture to someone who, without this sort of red marking here. Or again, one of the best things would be a picture of you and your staff or you in the place that you work. And this is acting slow. So hopefully this will go through. The other thing might be that we said sick and tired of back pain leading to stiffness or achy muscles. So we may just change this to sick and tired of dealing with issues bending over or sitting for long periods of time. Something that kind of stays away from stiffness or achy. Those might be words. Usually I found them to be okay, but those could be things. And so you just want to tweak these words like stiffness or achy. Just think about what Facebook doesn't want is someone to have a negative experience. And so they want it to be as positive as possible. So we just want to avoid really trying to hammer home about pain. Not that we can't use pain, but like really aggravating or making people feel bad about their situation. So I'm going to see if I can, still waiting to publish. So this should go, okay, publishing 2 of 3. So this just is like the 3 different stages, not 3 different ads. Okay, it says multiple items published, meaning your one campaign has been published, which means it's in review. So it doesn't mean it's reviewed. When it's actually active, you'll see this will change to live. So let me show you an example of what that looks like. So someone who's running an active ad, it will change to green and active, which is, whoops, green and active, which will indicate that it's actually live and running. So if we go to, back to here. So right now it's scheduled. When this changes to live, which Facebook will shoot you a notification, that's when you know your ad has been approved and actually running on the platform. Okay, one quick thing I want to show you real quick before we wrap this part up is if you want to make a second version of the ad and it doesn't cost any money extra to do this, let's say you want to test a different image or a video, you can duplicate this ad, click duplicate. And all you have to do is go down here and clear images. And now you can add an image or a video. Now, the only time you couldn't do a video is if it's longer than a minute because, maybe 2 minutes now, because Instagram doesn't allow videos that are longer than a minute. So you just want to make sure if you choose a video that it's under a minute since we're also advertising on Instagram. Let's say you want to test a different image. So maybe like I want to test, I'll just find a different stock image photo. Let's do back pain again. And something maybe like this. Right, maybe this will catch my male audience a little bit more. So I could use that. And now I can just click publish. And so everything's the same. We're just testing a different image to the same people and see if that makes any difference. Cool. So once this is published, that's it for the first part. So this is getting your ad set up. And the second part, we're going to talk about how do you track your ads, how do you see when someone has opted in, and how do you follow up with those people? So hope this has been helpful, and you've officially got your ad published and up for review by Facebook.